I will admit, it's not entirely unpleasant seeing you again. A lot of time has passed. By the look of it, you've come up in the world.
I could say the same about you.
A mayor serves his city. I can see you're not entirely convinced.
Can you blame me? I can't shake the feeling that you're gaming the system.
Why did you stop being a vigilante?
The line was crossed.
And hello, how is everybody doing today? Indeed, lines were crossed. Revelations were found out. Welcome to my episodes 1 and 2 of Daredevil Born Again, which premiered last night. Fair warning, because these are episodes and I will be breaking them down probably every week, there will be spoilers. You can watch these on Disney Plus. And I may do a watch along. If you guys want to see something like that, let me know. So what is Daredevil Born Again about? Do you need to do homework? Do you need to watch other shows? Well, no, you do not. You do not need to do homework unless you did not watch the amazing Netflix series seasons 1 through 3. But I think even if you didn't watch those, they have done a great job within the first 2 episodes pretty much explaining what's going on. This is probably going to be its own standalone story. So Daredevil Born Again is about our favorite blind lawyer, Matt Murdock. And wow, I got a lot to say. So let's start off with episode 1, which is called Hero's Martyr. And wow, what a way to start off an episode. Oh boy, where do I begin? Where do I begin? Because this show, it starts off with a bang. So let me start off with the cast here. We have Charlie Cox returning as Matt Murdock, Vincent D'Onofrio playing Kingpin. We have Deborah Ann Woll returning as Karen Page. Elden Henson returning as Franklin Foggy Nelson. We have what was his name? It is. Hold on a second here. I'll think of it later. Anyways, so a lot to say. My thoughts are everywhere, but let's start off with Daredevil Born Again. The first 10 minutes of this show lets you know this is both the Daredevil you know and love, and it is not fucking around. This show might be the next Penguin. I know what you guys are thinking. A Disney Plus show that's on the level of the Penguin. Zod, you might be jumping the gun, but I'm here to tell you, this show may be the best Marvel project that they've done as far as television goes, ever. I love WandaVision. I did like the first season of What If, and there were a couple of other ones. I like Hawkeye, but this show has a different vibe to it. So, first off, let's start off with the opening 10 minutes of the show, which I think by far is going to hook people. So we have our 3 main characters, and the thing I love about this opening scene is it lets you, as a returning fan of the Daredevil franchise, really feel like you're getting back in the swing of things. I want to say Kevin because I always say Kevin Foggy, but though it's not pronounced that way, but it is Franklin Foggy. But Foggy and Karen and Matt are walking down the street. Things are great. They get a phone call. Foggy is protecting somebody, a witness of some sort, and he did not tell Matt about this. They're in this bar. Everything is happening. Everything is too happy and you get this sense from watching the opening minutes. So when I was watching this, I said to myself, this is too happy. What is happening? I thought Disney was going for that happy, oh, we're going to make this version of Daredevil cheery. When you watch this, you're going to get the feels. No, folks. No. So Foggy gets a phone call. He has a witness. Now, if you guys haven't seen season 3, at the end of season 3, there's a villain, Bullseye, uh, Franklin Poindexter. But yeah, it was hinted he was augmented somehow, and I hope the show dives into it because the series got canceled before they could get into his arc. But basically, the opening scene, Poindexter starts shooting into this bar that Murdock and friends go to, and we see some people get hit, and then you see it, folks. The thing that's going to be remembered probably in this show, talked about online, discussed, one of the main characters, the pillar of the first 3 seasons, and a fan favorite, our good boy Foggy, the heart, the person who keeps Matt Murdock grounded, is shot in the chest, and Matt loses his shit. He suits up in the Daredevil uniform, and we get what I would consider probably one of, if not probably the best fight scenes in Daredevil. I know everybody talks about the hallway scene. Uh, this scene was absolutely brutal. Daredevil is fighting with Bullseye as he's trying to get him to stop killing people. He is killing a bunch of people in this bar. I assume it's cops and civilians. It's a cop bar. And he is literally just fucking murdering everybody in it while Daredevil is using his body to shield people. He looks like a fucking pincushion with knives all in his chest, in his back, which shows how good his armor is. If you guys remember from the Daredevil series, they talked about small caliber bullets and knives. The chest pieces basically block it, but he looks like a fucking porcupine with all of these knives that Bullseye is putting into his chest. And where do I start? Let me start with the soundscape for this is amazing. Uh, the the editors of this show deserve high praise. Um, they drown out the people's screaming and yelling, and you can just hear their heartbeats as they're fighting back and forth. You can hear Matt's heartbeat as he's fighting. You can hear how tired his opponent is as they're going up the stairs. Dude is fucking murdering people in this small apartment building as they're going up. He does not give a shit. He is there's this dude who answers his door and he throws a knife in his throat, and then the lady comes and he punches this woman in the face as they're moving up the stairs. And meanwhile, Matt Murdock, being the good Catholic that he is trying to check on people. They're fucking dead, and he is pissed. They get to a rooftop and they start fighting, and you hear in the background, Matt has super hearing or whatever, heightened senses. He's Daredevil, and you can hear our main character slowly dying. This show starts out pulling at your fucking heartstrings. I was like, there's no way they're going to kill a fucking main character. Not in the first episode. Who is ballsy enough to kill one of our top 3 characters in the first fucking 10 minutes of his show? And they just don't kill our main character. They let you listen to him as he slowly dies and gasps for air while um, uh, Karen is sitting next to him in a pool of blood, screaming for an ambulance and help. And then you see Matt can hear his best friend as he dies. And the name of this first episode is called Heaven's Half Hour. And holy shit. So yeah, they kill one of the big 3 in the first fucking 10 minutes of the show. And then it cuts to a year later, and we have Matt has decided to hang up the suit yet again. Now, anybody who watches the show, Matt has done this. If you watch the Defenders or whatever, they did a little mini kind of Born Again arc with less money. And he said, fuck this, I'm not going to be Daredevil. He put the suit back on by the end of the third season. But this time, it's been a whole year, and he is done. He's done being Daredevil. And so Wilson Fisk, played by the great Vincent D'Onofrio, returns. And Wilson Fisk comes back and decides he wants to be mayor of New York. Now, if you know about Wilson Fisk, he's the most evil fucking character probably put to screen. And yeah, he is running for mayor of New York. Now, I want to get to something that's probably going to be highlight. There is a lot of, I don't want to say politics, but things that are relevant to what we are currently going through today. Now, I will say that if a show is going to tackle these kinds of topics, it would be Daredevil that could do it. They always talked about, first off, let's just be real. New York is corrupt as fuck. I was born and raised there. I love it, but New York is a dirty, grimy, corrupt fucking place. Okay? And the police force, not known for being warm and friendly. Even going back to the olden days, cops were corrupt as fuck. And in Daredevil, the original run, the police played a pivotal role. There was a whole arc in the third series about a corrupt FBI agent. This is nothing new. I'm sure there's going to be people who are going to say, oh, they're talking about defunding the police, blah, blah, blah. Look, shut the fuck up. The cops were fucking corrupt in that show. That's what it is. The mayor is corrupt. Everybody is fucking corrupt. Okay? Like Chicago or Boston or any other fucking big kind of city place, you have your good guys who want to do good, and you have the people in power who abuse and use their power. It's just the way it is. Grow the fuck up. That's the real world. So we're in a place where Wilson Fisk wants to become the mayor of New York. Now, I have only one or two little issues with this that I hope the show address. This man went to fucking jail. I don't know how you can go to prison, come out and run for mayor. Granted, in DC, the mayor was on crack and still got elected 2 terms. So, what do I know about politics? He could sweep it under the rug. It'll be interesting to see if this comes back later. But as of now, I have no idea where they're going to go with this whole scandal, if they can make it work as far as the story goes. But basically, Fisk comes out. Vanessa is back, and she has taken over his criminal empire. And he comes back, and he wants to do good. So Wilson Fisk is trying to be a good guy. Or revamp his image. In the trailers, there's a scene in the diner that's in the first episode. This show is back to what it was. And I told people this when I watched the show. This show is not about action. And I think a lot of people are going to come in and expect, oh, this is the first R-rated Disney show. There's action in this, lots, and it's very bloody and very, very violent. But I think people should brace yourself and watch the original one. Daredevil is not just about brutal violence. It's about the acting, court drama, philosophical and moral questions, and I believe I know where this season is going. So this season is a lot about, can a person change who they are? Can they become better? Can a person who is a criminal become a mayor and do good for his people? Because at the end of the day, whether you agree with the Kingpin or not, Kingpin loves his city. Wilson Fisk does love New York. He wants to make New York a better place. Matt Murdock wants to make New York a better place. But one paints outside of the law. The other one was just downright criminal. Both of them have the same goal. And I'd have to say, in Daredevil history, the conversation between them in the diner is one of the best dialogues I've heard in a very, very long time. It's like two old friends sitting down talking about like how they've been and things like that. It's like if you took you took a villain and a hero and you had them sit down and just have a talk like they were buddies. Great dialogue. Vincent D'Onofrio and Charlie Cox have not skipped a beat. They just slip right back into these characters. Is like it's like seeing two pros come back to the roles that made them famous. Now, there's a lot of side characters here, and I can't get a really good feel for how I feel about them. So let's talk about Kamar de los Reyes, who plays Hector Ayala. Uh, which he's kind of going to be the focal point of the show. So, if you guys have watched Daredevil, Matt Murdock is a lawyer, which means he does cases. And so there's a man down in a subway. He sees three people beating the shit out of this kid, and he goes and he interferes. He kills one of the guys by throwing them in front of a fucking speeding train. And come to find out, the guy that he killed is a part of the NYPD. So Matt Murdock goes to see him and does his Daredevil little voodoo where he listens to his heartbeat and he could tell that the guy is not lying, and Matt Murdock is going to face off against the police. Meanwhile, Wilson Fisk is trying to get the police on his side as mayor because they are all talking about walking out. So episode 1 starts off pretty high octane. Then it slows down. It shows Fisk coming back and wanting to be mayor and clean up the city. Episode 2 is called Optics, and we find out at the end of episode 1, Fisk has been elected to be the next mayor of New York. And it's episode 2 is pretty much about Wilson trying to figure out how politics works. So this is a man who is a gangster. He has brutally murdered people. He is used to intimidating and basically killing people if he doesn't get what he wants. And he is trying to change that part of him. But he's starting to find out that politics are kind of like the mob or any other form of corruption. And so he can't just go and make people disappear. But he might fit well into this world. Let's just say that, because there's a couple of scenes which I'll talk about in a second that keep you on the edge whether or not he has really changed. Meanwhile, on Matt Murdock's side, he Karen has moved. He has lost his friends, and he started his own lawyer firm, and he is trying to help the downtrodden. He takes the case for um, the guy who killed the police officer, and he goes to talk to the wife, and there's a witness that can prove that the guy was just doing this in self-defense. They were going to kill him, but things come out, and you find out that this Good Samaritan, this guy is a vigilante, and he is known as the White Tiger. Yeah, Power Amulet. I don't really know the White Tiger's story. That's one Marvel character. I know he exists. I just don't know much about him. He's one of those side characters or side heroes. But it complicates things as far as defending him because there is now a new bill being passed. Wilson Fisk wants to outlaw costume heroes. He wants to refund the police, and he wants to put faith in the system. And I like the setup for this, and I'll tell you why. Because Daredevil has always tackled the issues, and I think the writing in this is fucking fantastic so far. And so you have two different storylines with two different people, but I'll kind of break down the little plots. So you have Matt going through his crisis. He doesn't want to be Daredevil. He is trying to serve the people as a lawyer. You have Wilson Fisk trying to curb his vengeance, his rage. He wants to help the people the right way, being mayor. Both these guys have very similar agendas, and you even hear him saying if Matt goes back to being a vigilante, because if you guys didn't see Daredevil season 3, Kingpin knows his identity, but he says to him, as long as they stay in their lanes, he does his thing, they'll leave each other the fuck alone. End of story. But the way they're setting it up, of course, Wilson Fisk is about to enact a law that forces costume heroes to hang up their masks, right? He doesn't want people in masks doing the job of the police. And I think this is a very interesting conversation. And this is being done in a very smart, mature way. It is the question of the people are tired of nobody doing anything. And I think it really mirrors what's going on in society today, right? People want things to get done. That is why Wilson Fisk was elected as mayor. Okay, this guy who's basically a criminal. That's why they put their trust in heroes, right? So he's trying to get people to trust in the systems of the laws again. So there's a scene with this police chief is about to retire, take the police force with him, and basically Fisk fucking blackmails him, which in his mind is less of what he could have done because he really wanted to kill this guy. But instead, the dude had a mistress on the side and he had a kid with this other person. So he basically blackmails the police chief to stay in the department with the police officers. And you have Matt chasing down police corruption with these officers who are basically fucking beating the shit out of these witnesses. Now, episode 2 ends with another great fight scene. Matt has not fought since a year ago when his best friend died. So he has to save this witness. He tells him to leave. He tries everything. These 3 guys come into to this guy's apartment, and he's telling them to leave or whatever else. They beat the living fuck out of him. Like, I mean, they are beating a blind guy, which A, what the fuck? And B, like, dude, what the fuck? Like, seriously? You beat the shit out of a blind dude? Like, there's 3 guys armed with he can't see you, so he doesn't know who you are. And he hears the gun click, and once he hears that shit, he beats the living fuck out of these. Like, oh my god, he breaks this dude's bone out of his fucking skin. He flips this one guy. I'm pretty sure he's dead. He landed on his neck and his head snapped back. Like, I know technically Daredevil doesn't kill people. He killed the fuck out of this guy. I'm sorry. Like, look, man. Like Matt said, he crossed the line. Nah, he fucking crossed the 18 lines through this show, through the first 3 seasons. But this one, dude, that cop is dead, or at the very least won't ever walk again. Um, so I guess he didn't technically kill him, but yeah. And the titles of the episodes are very well titled to what the episode is about. So the first one is Heaven's Half Hour, and I'm gathering that is for what happened to one of our main characters in the first couple of minutes. And then the next one is Optics, and you hear throughout each one, Optics is representing the optics that Wilson Fisk has to present as a mayor. The things he's got to do, he's got to win the people, and then the optics for Matt, like, what does it look like for what he's doing? Now he's going against the cops. While Wilson is trying to bring the cops back in, there is a group of cops kind of rogue. Now, the most interesting thing we see at the end of this episode, episode 2, is that the cops that attack, hey, what's up, Carmel? Good to see you. Welcome to my breakdown for Daredevil Born Again episodes 1 and 2. So by the end, we see that the cops that have attacked Matt Murdock have the Punisher skull on their forearm, what does this mean? Is this they're taking Frank Castle's little mantra and they're trying to co-opt it? Is this a separate group? Are these people who think that Frank had it right and they're just taking down scum? Now, Jon Bernthal is in the guest stars list, so I'm gathering the Punisher is going to have some kind of a role. I don't think it's going to be that big because they said he's getting his own special. But oh boy, if people are using Frank Castle, that's going to be interesting to see when he returns. Clearly, him and Daredevil are going to have a conversation at some point. They showed it in the previews, so uh, Frank Castle is going to be back, and I don't think he's going to be happy with a bunch of cops using his symbol as a way for their crusade. The other interesting question that this show raises, okay, and I want people to bear with me on this. This show does a great job of not demonizing the police and not glorifying them, but kind of finding a middle ground of that every system and institution is corrupt, and it's up to the individuals of how they use their power, is what I gather so far. Like I said, I've only seen the first 2 episodes like everybody else. I'm just giving my own take. But from what I'm seeing is that this is about not only from our hero, but from our villain. When you have power, when you have influence, what you choose to do with it makes you the villain or the hero. And sometimes the hero, if they go too far, can become the villain. And the villain may actually be able to change and become the hero. Now, do I believe Wilson Fisk is going to be the good guy out of this? No. He is a violent, narcissistic, well, not really narcissistic, but more he craves acknowledgement. He craves like this. He has this urge for people to accept him, and I think some point in the show that's going to make this turn. Like Daredevil and Kingpin, they're gonna clash because they're the way that they set it up in these first 2 episodes. It's very clear that they're going to come to a head where they disagree about this. Because Wilson wants to get the police involved, and clearly the police are corrupt, or at least a section of them. So there's going to be a point where they're going to clash over this issue. You're just waiting to win. But as of right now, the show is focusing a lot on Matt Murdock and on Wilson Fisk. And so here's some negatives that I have with the show. And this is going to sound really strange, so I'm going to take the spoilers off because I had to just say the few things, the crazy scenes. So, one, my issues with this show are very small, and I haven't seen the rest. But my first issue is the show is very clean, and the movements are very weird. And what I mean by that is if you've seen Daredevil on Netflix, the fights are very visceral, and they are here too. But when he's Daredevil in his costume, he moves very weird. It's a very CGI kind of movement, and I get it. To do the swinging and then jumping and all of that, it would be. I mean, I guess you could use ropes and shit like that, but CGI is cheaper. Plus, Disney underpays their animators, so there's that. Um, I feel bad for the CGI people. Um, but it's very weird uh, when he's just fighting close quarters. The shots are very clean. It's very good looking. You can tell they did a lot of the stunt work, in person. I don't know. I've heard that the actors do their own stunts to a point, so I could tell where the fighting is very real. But there's also a point where it's very just CGI, like PlayStation 3 kind of movements. Like it's very uncanny. Also, the aesthetics in general. The aesthetics make New York very, it's very bright, and I don't know how I feel about that. And what I mean by that is that the first 3 seasons of Daredevil, they were dark and gritty. New York was bathed in a lot of darkness. It felt dirty. It felt like how I remembered it. It felt like, there's trash on the streets and things like that. This New York is very clean. It's it's very bright and colorful, and I don't know if I'll adjust to that as the show goes on. Like I said, this is the first 2 episodes, so I don't know if they're gonna darken the tone up or make it a little bit feel a little more grimy. When they were in the subway, that definitely felt more New York, but there's certain shots where it's just too clean, and I don't like it. Um, and So far, the side characters, and I've heard this from people who've watched the whole series. I don't know how I feel about them sidelining the characters that I know and love. I get it. This is not Netflix Daredevil. They make that very clear from the first 10 minutes of the show, and I can tell by the writing that they respect the material and they're following the original material. So that's all good. But it does make me have to get used to new people when I've already kind of gotten attached to characters from the original run that I know and love. And so I'm not entirely sure how I feel about them sort of introducing these new uh, characters that much. We have Michael Gandolfini, who is James Gandolfini's son. He's in this. He is one of the first characters I actually like. He plays Daniel Blake, which is uh, this advisor. He's very good. Um, they do have this new character, Clark Johnson, named Sherry, who I don't know how I feel about her. She's kind of like Karen. Like they have this former police officer. He's now a detective for Murdock. He works with his firm. He knows his identity. He's kind of like what Foggy was. It feels like replacements for the. Okay. All right. Sorry about that. My computer just decided it was not going to work. So, like I was saying, it feels like they are trying to take the older characters, kind of sideline them, maybe bring them back later, and then they're going to do something where they bring them into maybe season 2. I don't know how I feel about that. I'll let you guys know as the episodes go along. But right now, my biggest negatives for this, and I say that they're very, very small negatives, my absolutely tiny negatives is that I do not really vibe with the new characters, and I am not really entirely sold on the aesthetics of the new show. Other than that, what do I got to say? Great start. Great start for the first 2 episodes. I am locked in. Maybe I'll do some watch alongs for these episodes. I was gonna do a watch along yesterday, but I just wasn't feeling great. My allergies have been killing me, but I slept great last night. I slept pretty good today, so I'm hoping that my biggest nemesis, the allergy season, is past me. So, anyways, Daredevil Born Again, uh, season 1 is an excellent start, and I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I'm gonna be really honest. I think that this may actually be my show of 2025. I think this show is at the quality of The Penguin so far. I really do. The acting is superb, the attention to detail. I think so far, even the action portion, this starts a lot stronger as far as the action goes and really jumps you back into this world. Another good thing about this show that I think you guys should know, if you have not seen any Daredevil and you're just jumping into this, like you go, Zod, I haven't seen uh, Daredevil season 1, 2, and 3. First off, what the fuck are you doing? Watch that show. But if you haven't seen the first 3 seasons, you really don't have to watch them to watch this. They do a great job within the first 2 episodes, really catching you up. And you get a good sense just from watching the characters who they are. Now, for some of the characters that are introduced or some things that are going on, you would benefit from having watched the first 3 seasons to know who they are and to kind of know where their arcs go. But you don't have to watch anything really to watch this show. You could literally just watch this and pick it up, and um, yeah, you'd get the vibe of why so many people liked the Netflix show. I think the good thing about this is I didn't want a straight one-to-one recreation of the Netflix show because you had different writers and directors. You're never going to get the same style you had in the original run. I just wanted Disney to do a good fucking show. And I got to tell you, this is the best. And I think tons of people agree with me when they watch this. This is the best Disney Plus show they've ever done. Like, hands down, full stop, the end. Disney Plus does not have a better show on right now, a better original than this, except for maybe High School Musical, the musical, the rehearsal, the series, the tech rehearsal. Yeah. Me and Bitchy have to finish that one. Then maybe we'll give you guys a review of the ending because sadly it came to an end. Probably the best slash funniest fucking show we've ever seen. It's so comically bad. Like, if you want to watch a really amazingly, like, how the fuck did they make this with what they do in the show, uh, that's a great show. But not for the reasons that Disney was hoping. I know a lot of people who like the show, like unironically like the show. They think it's great. So it was a popular show. But no, this is a great, great quality show. Like, the writing in this is solid. The action is solid. The performances are great. The first 10 minutes is the most heartbreaking shit I've ever seen. Um, And yeah, much like the Penguin, when I watched this, I was like, oh, they're not fucking around because in the Penguin, the opening scene was that great monologue, and then him fucking murdering someone brutally, and you go, oh, so that's what kind of show this is. And Daredevil Born Again does that too. So uh, I think whoever like looked at this and said, "Yeah, we need new people." And I want to give a shout out to the people directed. I think it was David Copenhagen or something and created this. And I listened to the behind the scenes. I watched a special look, and they are very passionate, and you can see it in this show. They are very passionate about the Daredevil IP. They are very firm about making sure people were in the world that was created, and they kind of want to put their own unique spin on it without changing what it is. These characters are still the characters that we know and love. They don't change the character. It's just a different story. It's they did their little time jump, and now it's an exploration of good and evil. And I like stuff like that. This is an exploration of um like anger, vengeance, right and wrong, what makes somebody good, what makes somebody evil. Can somebody who's evil be good? Can somebody who's good, uh, do something so horrendous and then come back to that? Is violence an addiction? What's the nature of violence? There's a lot of big questions they're asking in the first 2 episodes, and I'm hoping by the end of this, they're going to be able to answer a lot of those. Like, I know this is 18 episodes. They broke it up into 2 seasons, so they're doing the first 9 this year, the next 9 next year. And I'm really hoping that when we watch this as a whole, this could be the greatest superhero series that has come out. And I say superhero because the Penguin's going to be the best villain series. I think, honestly, I don't want to get too hyped, but I think, honestly, this might be the best superhero series, full stop, that's ever been created. And I'm glad that the people who are in charge of this are steering the ship in the right direction. Do I think Marvel's back? The Marvel's a big fucking universe, okay? Like, like once again, Deadpool, Wolverine. Everybody said, "Oh, Marvel's back. They're back on top." And then we had Captain America: Brave New World. So I don't think Marvel is back per se. I think certain sections are being corrected. I think that the television section of Marvel, if they do it like this and they make specific showrunners who handle specific shows that know what the fuck they're doing, then yes, the TV portion could be steering in the right direction. But as far as movies go, I don't know. I'm not ready to jump on uh, the the Kevin bandwagon and go, oh yeah, ship steered, pack it in, boys. Everything's good. No, Marvel fucked up. They fucked up for like 6 movies straight and like 8 TV shows. So I'm not gonna say Marvel's back or whatever. Uh, DC was never on top to say DC's back, so DC's just kind of always been rough. But Marvel, I think, is taking a step in the right direction. And I'm glad they scrapped whatever the fuck they had to redo this show because I think it really helped. They got the stunt coordinator and action coordinator of the first 2 seasons of Daredevil, and it shows. And they have the writers of I forgot what the dude wrote. I think he wrote one of the better shows for Disney. Hold on a second. Let me check this out because I honestly didn't look up what he wrote for. But honestly, I don't know if at this point I really care because here's my thing. If he's doing a good job now, I don't think I really care about the stuff he was doing before this. Born Again. Let's see who is the writer for this. Let me see. Oh, okay. Let's see. Here we go. So the writer of this show is going to be uh, Dario Scarpin, and yeah, I don't know what he has written before, but I do think that he's a very good writer, and he revamped the script. The second season is going to premiere uh, July 25th, or the season is set to premiere early to mid 2026. So yeah, we're talking about, wow, a whole So the next season will probably not be out until the middle of 2026, which I don't know how I feel about that. I think if they should do 9 episodes and then just, well, they started filming late February, or they're going to film late February and July of 2025, which means they didn't shoot all the episodes. Maybe that's for the best. And yeah, I'm thinking that's for the best. This guy was the he was the writer and or Dan Jeffers. He was the writer of Netflix Daredevil spinoff The Punisher. So yeah, this dude knows what he's doing. So yeah, this is the writer of The Punisher, and if you guys know, maybe I'll do a review on that. One of my favorite Netflix spinoff shows was The Punisher. So this guy knows the tone that Netflix went for, and I'm glad that they hired a Netflix writer to do this. I never thought I'd be saying that because Netflix is notorious for having bad fucking writers, but not in this case. Good job. Good job, Disney. Never thought I'd be saying that. You did good. This is a great show. Go check it out. The first 2 episodes are on Disney Plus right now. You can watch them. And thank you, everybody, for watching. Um, this Friday, Late Night Talks returns every Friday. What time? Who knows? Could be 10, could be 11. It depends on what the Bear's doing. But anyways, thank you everybody for watching. And as always, remember, there is only one rule here in the Phantom Zone. Kneel before Zod.